Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the worksheet 12.2, more key features of quadratic functions. Okay, so we're going to do the odds on here. It says identify the x and y intercepts of each function. So just to kind of help you remember, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So to find the x-intercepts all along this line, all the y values all along this line is 0. So if we're looking for the x-intercepts, y equals 0. And if you're looking for the y-intercepts all along this line, the x equals 0 because it hasn't moved left or right at all. So y-intercepts is when x equals 0. Okay? So to find the x and y intercepts, we're simply going to plug zeros in for either the y or the x and then solve from there. So if we're looking for the x-intercepts, we're going to plug 0 in for y. So we get 0 equals x squared plus 5x minus 6. This is where we're going to want to factor this thing out, right? There's no number out in front here, so we can just go factors of 6. 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. Which ones of those have a difference of 5? 1 and 6 have a difference of 5. They add up to 5, but this one says we want the difference. So we got to use 1 and 6. Now these two numbers have to add up to be positive 5, so it's going to have to be positive 6 and negative 1. Okay, so that means that in order for these two things to multiply together to get 0, either this has to equal 0 or this has to equal 0. So we got to set x minus 1 equal to 0 and x plus 6 equal to 0. Add 1 to both sides here and we get x equals 1. Subtract 6 from both sides here and we get x equals negative 6. So that means the intercepts are 1 and negative 6. Okay. For the y-intercepts, we plug in 0 for x. Okay, so we get y equals 0 squared plus 5 times 0 minus 6. That turns into 0, that turns into 0, so this negative 6 is going to be our y-intercept. Y-intercept is negative 6. Okay? Okay. All right, number 3, x squared minus 5x plus 6. So if we're looking for the x-intercepts, y equals 0. Oops, I've set these all equal to 0 already. These are all supposed to be y's. And then that's a y. So we have x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0, because we had to set the y equal to 0. So we're going to want to factor this thing out. Okay? Factors of 6. Again, 1 times 6 or 2 times 3 that add up to 5. Now is where we're going to use the 2 and the 3. So x and x, 2 and 3. These two numbers have to add up to negative 5. So it has to be negative 3 and negative 2. That adds up to negative 5. And then they multiply together to give positive 6. So we set each of these here equal to 0. So we get x minus 2 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. Add 2 to both sides and we get x equals 2. Add 3 to both sides here and we get x equals 3. So x-intercepts are 2 and 3. Okay? And then the y-intercept, again, you can go back through and you can plug 0 in for these x's. But guess what? That constant number there, that's going to be our y-intercept. Y-intercept is 6. Okay? All right, number 5 here. X-intercept, we're going to plug 0 in for y. So we get 7x squared plus 9x plus 2 equals 0. Now, here you can either try to factor this and hope that it factors, or you can just always plug it in the quadratic equation. That will always work. So you can choose here. I'm going to choose to plug this into the quadratic only because I know the quadratic will always work, whether it's factorable or not. So I don't have to mess with it if I don't want to. Let's see, just really quick. Let's just mess with the factoring, see if it does work. 7 times 2 is 14. Factors of 14 that add up to 9 are going to be 7 and 2. So it will factor, but I'm just going to do the quadratic anyway, just to show that it'll work. x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? So, we get x equals, let's see, sorry, let's back up here. And I was working in blue before. Let's keep that blue. So we've got A is 7, B is 9, C is 2. So we get x equals negative 9 plus or minus 9 squared minus 4 times A, which is 7, times C, which is 2. All over 2 times A, which is 7. So we get x equals negative 9 plus or minus, and then now let's simplify this thing here. So we've got 9 squared we know is 81 minus 4 times 7 times 2, which gives us 25. All over 2 times 7 is 14. So we get negative 9 plus or minus, the square root of 25 is 5 over 14. So all we have to do now is just solve each one of these. So we're going to do negative 9 plus 5 over 14 and negative 9 minus 5 over 14. Negative 9 plus 5 is negative 4 over 14. So we can just leave it like that. That's fine. Actually, let's solve the other one. Negative 9 and negative 5 is negative 14 over 14, which is simply negative 1. So we get that our x-intercepts are negative 4 over 14, which is what? Negative 2/7. So equal negative 2/7 and negative 1. Those are the x-intercepts. And then the y-intercept is simply going to equal this positive 2 right here. Okay? Okay, last one here. X-intercepts, we're going to set y equal to 0. So we got 9n squared plus 3n minus 20 equals 0. I'm going to plug this into the quadratic again. This one will probably be a little bit nicer to plug into the quadratic because 9 times 20 is 180. You got to come up with all the factors of 180 and hope that one of those have a difference of 3. So it might work out, but it might not. So I'm just going to do the quadratic. A equals 9, B equals 3, C equals negative 20. So we get x equals negative 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times A, which is 9, times C, which is negative 20, all over 2 times A, which is 9. That's a 9, not an A. Okay, so we get x equals negative 3 plus or minus, let's see what that root, what all that simplifies to, and then we know 2 times 9 is 18. So over here, oops, we're going to just want to do 3 squared we know is 9 minus 4 times 9 times negative 20 gives us 729. Let's see if that works out to be a nice perfect square root. Square root of 729. Cross our fingers, 27. So this is going to be x equals negative 3 plus or minus 27 over 18. So we're going to do negative 3 plus 27 divided by 18 and negative 3 minus 27 divided by 18. So this is going to give us, what, 24 over 18. And this is going to give us negative 30 over 18. Okay. We don't have to use our calculator for this. Let's see. The 24 and 18 both can be divided by 6, right? Divide by 6, divide by 6, and we get 4/3. And then these can both also be divided by 6. So negative 5 over 3 as well. So our x-intercepts are 4/3 and negative 5/3. And then our y-intercept is going to equal negative 20. Okay? All right, that's all we have for the 12-2 worksheet. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks.